We all know the one really autocratic ruler around here is the Annette Library custodian who's going to throw us out and lock the door at 10 o'clock. I could listen to these guys for quite a while, but I know there's going to be comments because I know this audience is opinionated and full of questions. So I'm going to ask the concluding statements to try to keep it down to 5 or 6 or 8 minutes and give us your best shot, both of you, and then we'll bring the audience in. Thanks.
We keep coming back to the United States. I personally, I've got nothing against Americans, but I'm not an American, I'm a Canadian, and I believe Canada should be distinct and separate. What Neil has neglected to mention, that the biggest friend that the United States has in the world isn't Canada anymore, it's Britain. Economically, militarily, politically. The United States doesn't care a hoot about Canada. They kowtow to Britain, and Britain vice versa to the United States. That's how little Britain cares about Canada anymore. And how Canada staying British or looking more British keeps us less American, quote unquote, has never ever been explained properly. To me anyway, I just don't get it. I think that you also have to look at one thing that happened this summer, or when William and Kate came to Canada. Now they came here at the expense of Canadian taxpayers. Pretty well close to $1 million a day it cost Canadians. Monarchists say, well, we got lots of tourism from it, so maybe it evened out. I don't know. But where did the royal couple go when they left here? They went to Hollywood. They went to the United States. They went there, not on their dime, not on Americans' dime. Their trip was paid for by the Audi car company. The United States have the best way of looking at the monarchy. Privatize it. Let the monarchs, let the royals come here anytime they want. But we're not paying for it. Canadians, that's the thing that we get the most from our followers. When they find out how much this costs us, Canadians per capita spend more on the monarchy than even the British do. And that's a fact. That's a statistical fact. It's just not practical in Canada to have a head of state who doesn't represent us abroad. When the Queen visits other countries, she goes, there's the Queen of England, the Queen of the United Kingdom. She doesn't visit Brazil and the Brazilian newspapers go, oh, the Queen of Canada is here. They don't do it. She's the Queen of England. She's widely recognized as the Queen of England. She's their head of state. Let them do whatever they want with the monarchy. In Canada, we need a head of state who travels around, represents Canada, is identifiable as Canada's head of state, and represents us exclusively. I just want to, again, touch on Neil's continued reference to the United States. They have their own republican system that they have evolved with. I don't like it personally. It's their country, they can do whatever they want. But history and tradition has shown that every post-monarchy country, first world country in the world, evolved out of their monarchies and went with a Westminster-style parliamentary system. That's identical to what we've got right now. The only difference is that our de facto head of state has this nebulous connection to the British monarchy. You sever that, and you've got yourself a parliamentary republic. Now, lastly, I'm going to say one thing. Priorities. I mentioned that before. A lot of people say, leave the monarchy alone. It's not harming anybody. It's not doing anything. I think there's something that's not being mentioned here. The monarchy is divisive in this country. It's harmful to our national unity. When you look at 1/3 of our nation, where 80% of the people have no love for the monarchy at all. Quebecers, they recognize what monarchy represents. It represents colonialism. We're not a colony anymore. We're an advanced, democratic, independent country, but we've got one foot in the colonial days. Even the British recognized that the British Empire has been dead for at least 40 years. But Canadians still see this parallel with belonging to this British sphere. Britain has long given up hope of maintaining any kind of strong links to their former colonies. We've got the Commonwealth, which is basically the UN light that does a few things for hunger and third world countries, but that's it. Britain is preoccupied with the European Common Market, with the EC. They don't even have a trading agreement with Canada. Our biggest trading nation that we deal with is the United States. We don't have to share their culture, even though probably a good 40% of the creative people in Hollywood are Canadian. But according to Neil, they're exporting their culture to us. I like to think that we're exporting our culture to them. We have to let Canada evolve. And monarchy belongs in the 17th to 18th century. If Canada was being formed today, no one in their right mind would choose monarchy, not even a domestic one. We would choose a republic. So it's time to let Canada evolve the way it's been evolving for the last 100 years, finish the last step of Canadian independence, and sever the link with the monarchy.